About 190,000 years ago, an entire population of early humans nearly vanished. Not from a war, not from a predator, from drought. And the food that saved them wasn't meat. It was buried underground, and you've probably never eaten anything like it in your life. Right now, your body still carries the machinery built during that near extinction. Every time you can't stop eating past full, or you crave something starchy and greasy at 9 at night, you're feeling leftover code written during a famine your ancestors barely survived. So what did they actually eat when the animals disappeared and the rain stopped falling for years at a time? The answer is stranger than you'd guess, and it's still shaping what's sitting in your kitchen cabinet right now. Picture the southern coast of Africa, deep in the last ice age. The world has gone cold and dry. Rivers that used to run all year are cracked mud. The big game your ancestors used to track has moved on, following water that no longer exists here. A woman crouches at the edge of a rocky slope, gripping a sharpened digging stick. She's not hunting. There's nothing left to hunt. She's digging.
2 feet down, buried in dry orange soil, is a swollen root the size of a fist. It doesn't look like food. It looks like a rock with skin. But she knows exactly where to find it, because her mother showed her, and her mother's mother showed her before that. This is a geophyte, a bulb or tuber that stores water and starch underground, safe from drought, safe from fire, safe from anything happening above the surface. This single skill, passed down for generations, is the difference between her group surviving the next month and not.
Her digging stick isn't random. It's fire-hardened at the tip, sharpened at an angle her people learned works best in this particular soil. Tools like this have actually been found at sites from this period, which tells researchers something important. This wasn't improvised last-minute survival. It was a rehearsed system, practiced and refined across generations who had clearly faced this exact drought before. Here's the detail that should stop you. Archaeologist Curtis Moran spent years excavating caves at a site called Pinnacle Point, right on this coastline, and found burnt plant remains and stone tools dating back to exactly this drought window. His research suggests small, isolated pockets of humans survived the worst climate swing of the Ice Age by combining 2 food sources most people never think about: shellfish pried off the rocks at low tide and underground plant starches most predators couldn't even find. While the woman digs, someone else works the tide pools nearby, prying mussels and limpets off wet stone with a rock chisel. It's slow, it's exhausting. Every low tide is a race against the water coming back in. But shellfish don't run away, and they don't need rain to exist. For a population running out of options, that reliability is everything. Notice what's missing from this picture. No mammoth hunt, no dramatic chase across open grassland. Survival here looked boring. Hours of digging, hours of prying shells off rock, day after day. But boring and reliable is exactly what keeps a species alive when the dramatic option, chasing animals that have already left, simply isn't on the table anymore. Now here's the twist most people get wrong. You'd assume famine means eating less. It doesn't. It means eating differently. Anything dense enough in calories to keep a body running through months of scarcity. That's where fire changes everything. Raw tubers are hard, bitter, sometimes mildly toxic. Cooked, they transform completely. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has argued that cooking wasn't just a convenience for early humans, it was survival technology. Heat breaks down tough plant starches into sugars the body can actually absorb, turning a nearly inedible root into a genuine calorie bomb. Without fire, this drought survival diet barely works. With it, a family can live on roots and shellfish for months at a stretch. So picture the scene again, but now with smoke rising from a small fire at the mouth of a cave. The tubers go in whole, buried in hot ash. An hour later, they come out soft, sweet, starchy, unrecognizable from what went in. To a body starved of easy calories, that flavor isn't just pleasant, it's euphoric. It's the taste of survival itself, and the brain rewards it accordingly. And that's the moment worth sitting with, because that exact craving never left you. Here's the mismatch. Your body evolved in a world where calorie-dense, starchy, fatty food was rare and precious, something you might only get during a lucky dig or a successful hunt. So your brain built a reward system that treats those foods like a jackpot. Dopamine floods in, you want more, and you want it again tomorrow, because your ancient wiring has no way of knowing tomorrow's supply isn't guaranteed. Now, flip to today. That same starchy, fatty combination isn't rare anymore. It's in a drive-through window 40 feet from your house, available at any hour for less than $5.
Your ancient reward circuitry has no idea the scarcity ended. It still fires exactly like it did for a drought survivor who just found a tuber worth digging 2 feet of hard soil for. If you've ever eaten a whole bag of chips without meaning to, that's not a lack of willpower. That's a 190,000-year-old alarm system doing precisely what it was built to do, just in a world that no longer matches the alarm. There's a name for part of this. Geneticist James Neal proposed what's known as the thrifty gene hypothesis. Populations that survived repeated famines may have evolved bodies that store fat more aggressively whenever food is available, as insurance against the next drought. Scientists still debate exactly how strong this effect is in modern humans, but the underlying logic tracks with everything we know about famine survival. A body that hoards calories when it can gets a second chance that a body which doesn't hoard never gets. Here's an uncomfortable question. Do you notice yourself eating faster or eating more whenever you're stressed, even when you're not actually hungry? Sit with that for a second, because it connects directly to what happens next. This mismatch has a real cost, and it's not just about weight. Chronic stress-driven overeating has been linked to metabolic strain, disrupted sleep, and a shame spiral that makes the behavior worse, not better. You feel guilty for wanting the food. The guilt raises your stress. The stress triggers the exact ancient hunger signal again, pulling you right back to the pantry. It's a loop your ancestors never had to deal with, because their environment never gave them the chance to trigger it twice in the same afternoon. If you've ever restricted your eating hard, then binged later and felt like your body betrayed you, understand this: it didn't betray you. It behaved exactly like a body that survived a drought. It just doesn't know the drought ended tens of thousands of years before you were even born. This is also why grocery stores stock more shelf space for chips, crackers, and cookies than for almost anything else. Companies didn't invent your craving for dense, starchy, fatty food. They found it already sitting there, fully installed, and built an entire industry around triggering it as often as possible. The craving is ancient. The trigger, sitting in a bright bag at eye level near the checkout line, is brand new. If you want to know what else evolution never prepared you for, subscribe to Neanderthink. So what do you actually do with this? Not another diet rule, a different question. Next time a craving hits out of nowhere, ask yourself what it's really responding to: actual hunger or a stress signal your body is translating into "find calories now." That single pause, noticing the difference, is the one piece of leverage evolution never gave your ancestors, because they never had a moment to spare between the craving and the food itself. They dug for hours to earn that starch. They cracked shells until their hands ached. You can reach the modern equivalent in about 90 seconds, wrapped in foil, handed through a car window. The gap between those two realities is exactly where the modern struggle with food actually lives. So think back to that coastline, deep in the last ice age. A woman with dirt under her fingernails, holding a root that might be the difference between her family surviving the season or not. She didn't have a choice about wanting that food badly. Neither do you. Not really. Not in the moment the craving hits. But she knew exactly what she was digging for. She wasn't chasing pleasure. She was chasing survival, and her brain rewarded her for it the only way it knew how. And now, so do you.